17th.
How are you?
Thank you for doing that. The meeting will be brought to order. We need to approve the board minutes of December 3rd, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve board minutes.
Thank you.
Second motion.
Thank you. Any questions or comments regarding the minutes? All right. All those approved, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Number 2, approve the payments of claims, otherwise known as checks. But we do get the claims in, and they are scrutinized by our fearless board member, Mr. Donahoe. So, anybody has any questions about those, you know.
Make a motion to approve payment of claims.
Second.
Questions? Comments? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. The next regular meeting will be held on Wednesday, January the 7th, 2026 at 4 p.m. Public comment. Do we have any public with us? Old business. Do you have any old business? Okay. 6, new business. Approve the Peru Municipal Sewage Works SRF disbursement request number 61 to Hazen and Sawyer.
I'll make a motion that we approve attachment 6A for
Second motion.
Hazen and Sawyer.
Any questions or comments regarding this form? All those in favor? It's unanimous. That would be 6A. Next is 6B. Approve the Peru Municipal Sewage Works SRF disbursement request number 62 to Lockmuller Group.
Make a motion to approve disbursement 62.
Second.
It's been moved second that we approve the Peru Municipal Sewage Works disbursement number 62. And please raise your hand if you're to approve. And it's unanimous. 6C. Motion to approve the Peru Municipal Sewage Works SRF disbursement request number 63 to Cinnamon Construction.
Make a motion to approve 6E.
I'll second the motion.
Any comments, questions regarding this 6C?
A lot of money.
All those in favor? It's unanimous. Approve the pay scales amendment, attachment 6D. Need a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the amendment for the pay scale.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Would anybody like to make a comment, have a question regarding this?
It's just a standard scale increase. The lab assistant position is part-time. It's difficult to keep those assistant positions. Our lab assistant has been here 7 years, so he's really he's got the skills to do it, and it being part-time, it's hard to find that technical skill set. The pay range was or is currently $10 to $18-13 an hour. We're just requesting increase in the range 15 to 28 an hour. For context, our lab specialist position, full-time position, is 2606 to 3022. So we're still, the part-time position is still less than the full-time position.
Why is there such a big gap in that 15 to 28?
Well, their responsibilities are different. However, the assistant's position does take the samples, process the samples, and they don't have as many responsibilities as the full-time lab tech does.
And if we were to start somebody that knew absolutely nothing about laboratory, we might start them lower down on the scale. But at this point, we're having the part-time lab tech do more and more of the regular lab duties as opposed to, just run some of the easy tests. So he's fully trained.
So this puts them only $2.22 behind full-time tech.
You have to hit the fill in for the one out for any reason. Okay.
Any more questions, comments? All those in favor? It's unanimous. That was 6D. 6E. Approve the resolution number 6 designating an authorized representative, CSO Storage Project, attachment 6.
Make a motion to approve attachment 6E as stated.
I'll second it.
So this is just because, and we've signed this before in every other project, it's because the Utility Service Board is the governing body of utilities. As far as that goes, the chairperson is the signatory for this. This is standard, and we've done it in every other project, so. If you're
So you're
not
trying to
voting,
appease me that you're not throwing me under the
well,
bus.
yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna be personally liable for the.
Yeah, you're
Hope you got a big life insurance policy.
If you didn't notice the bus probably 5 previous times.
Some in the parking lot.
Okay, we've got a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes, we go.
Okay, all those in favor? It's unanimous. That was 6E. Approve, 6F, approve the resolution number 7 for the CSO storage project acceptance resolution.
Make a motion to accept attachment 6F as stated.
Second.
So this is just because we had to make an adjustment to the PER, the original preliminary engineering report with the serpentine tank versus the tank on the property we purchased. So this is just that, cleaning that up, that the board accepts that change. We have to have all these things when we move forward into the bond issuances and the financing for the IFA.
You said a tank?
We made the adjustment in engineering to the storage pipes to the serpentine pipes from the tank. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry if I misspoke about the serpentine.
Okay, all those in favor? It's unanimous. Then this number's G, letter G, long-term control plan update would be given to us by our fearless leader.
Thank you. We met with Bowen Construction, Teddy Deal. Actually, 2 weeks ago, we met with the IFA. We set out, we talked about this in the meeting, last meeting. We set out dates for when we wanted to have our financing started, pre-closing, closing. We talked all about that. When we want the GMP price, when a drop dead date is for us to say, okay, we're moving forward, which was February 12th, I believe. Since then, Bowen Construction has said that they can't meet the end of January GMP price. There's too many things involved with that. So we won't be able to meet that February 12th drop dead date as far as whether we know for sure whether that comes in underneath the 75 million what we basically have left in for the revenue through the rate. So we had a meeting with the SRF yesterday, and with Bowen Construction, and with Lockmuller, Baker Tilly, Ice Miller, again, about what our options are. And basically it boils down to, we punt if the GMP can't, and we go into the first quarter financing, so that would be in the July timeframe, end of July, beginning of July. But there's a possibility we lose certain funding because we have to go back into the pool, and we have to go back in, and the project has to get scored again, and then it has to get approved on the priority list, the PPL. Or we get something worked out before then and commit to that financing before February 12th. The critical path is where we're at financially as far as what our revenue is bringing in and what we can afford in that $75 million range for what the rate originally was based on. Whether the GMP is going to be over that or not is still in question. So the critical path is where we're at financially, and Baker Tilly's working on that for us now, what we can afford. Adding that $6 million grant in, adding that 1% of that first 25 million instead of 2%. So that's the critical path. So right now, for us to make any decisions, we got to get those answers, and we hope to have those answers within the next couple of weeks, before the next meeting for sure. Once we have those answers, we will probably have to have an executive session to talk about our options and where we need to go financing wise, and how far we need to put ourselves out there. Both options are a little bit of a risk, so we want to mitigate that. We want to get the answers first before we move forward.
Is that going to delay the project beyond April?
As far as closing,
As far as
Close-
getting,
they're not breaking ground in April either way now. They've also pushed that back. I'm glad you said that. I was getting to that next. Could be the end of the year either way. The issue now at this point is not when they're breaking ground. It is, do we lose the $6 million? Because when we get back on the PPL, is it still there? And that $6 million was to mitigate the higher interest rates from the original rate study. There's a difference there. There's a 1.5% difference between what was estimated and what is. So, just full disclosure, we're working through that, and
Were they specific on what they couldn't move forward on, or?
the GMP, as far as the pricing.
Or the construction started.
construction, isn't it?
Well,
What
the
you're talking
construction, everything really. I mean, were they specific with you guys? I mean, I don't,
Because there's so many moving parts with this, and all the price changes in January 1st that always happen, that they have to wait till after January 1st to get the actual pricing for the final GMP. So, because there's so many moving parts, so many different suppliers, the Build America, the BABA stuff, so they have to make sure all of that's in compliance before they give us their maximum price. And they're saying that they can't get it all together by the 30th.
And some of this is huge numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
you got a mile and a half of 10-foot pipe, price goes up $2 a foot.
That's $12,000 fine.
Concrete's real volatile right now. So if we push them too hard, they're gonna build in way too much on the back end of comfort for them, and we don't want them to do that at all. We need obviously the lowest cost possible.
So, the April closing timeframe, off the table?
Not yet.
Not
Not yet. We're working through with Baker Tilly on as far as costs go, or revenue goes, and where we're at. I think they've been dead on revenue wise. If you look back over the last 2 years, like this year through October, the rate increase was 41% for this year. We were at 41% more revenue for this year, almost exactly through October, I think. So I think the rate study so far has been really, really close. It's just where does that $6 million take us interest rate wise? And is the GMP in their mind going to be over that 75 million, which they're still saying it very well could be. But they won't know until they can finally get all the suppliers
We
to commit to a
considered
cost.
financing, say 60, and then going back and doing like the,
Well, that's something we need to discuss, financing the 75, because that's what whatever our rate will support, financing that, cutting the ends of the project out, and we don't want to do this. I'm very clear on this. We don't want to do any of this, but we have to weigh all our options. Cutting the ends of the project out, either one side or the other on the smaller scale, smaller pipe. But all this is an IDIM thing. All this, we can't just say, oh, by the way, we don't have the money. You're killing us here, IDIM, making us do this. We've been saying, trust me, they are tired of hearing this from us. They're going to hear it from us again. When's the meeting set up? We didn't get the date yet. They're gonna hear from us again. We're working on getting a meeting set up with higher ups there. You're killing us. You're killing this community. You're killing us. They're tired of hearing that, and I'm gonna keep saying it. But so yes, we can commit to saying we want the 75 million. This is what our rates support, and then whatever we have to cut in on the back end. But that's something we're all gonna have to discuss. But we need all the facts before we make that decision. And we're not making that decision now because that would be a blind decision, and that would be one of the dumbest things we can do. So, but yes, yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
So you said construction may now not begin until the end of the year.
Correct.
What says we don't get into the same situation, at the end of the year on the pricing thing like we're going through right now?
No, either way, construction is not going to start. We can commit to that price. They're going to give us that price, and that's the price we're going to get early in the year. It won't change. We're not going to go through this process again. Now the only way we can go through this process again, which is there's a jumping off point here where we can say we're not doing the GMP anymore. We need to go for it with a traditional bid. We don't feel like we're going to get any better price. It could be worse.
we're back to square
When
one.
we're back to square one.
Or we get a better price because the contractor missed something,
Right.
and then they're trying to get us on every dime because they figured that out.
Because there's a change order, we know we're gonna need a change order here, a change order here, a change order here, and then we're back $10 million upside down on the project with
Well,
no
they're trying
money.
to slap it together as fast as they can while the inspector's not looking, and that thing leaks 5 feet under the ground 5 years from now.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
So, but again, when we get more information, we will follow through with you guys and have the discussion with all of the information. So that this is all speculation, this is all us, how we feel, and that's not how we conduct business. So,
But as far as the price goes, they're going to give us a guaranteed maximum price. So even if their prices increase down the road, ours won't. They know this is a 2-year project.
and it's their job within the project to continue the maximum, just because it's the maximum price, that's not what we necessarily are gonna pay. They just can't charge over that. It's not to exceed, I guess. So
Could come in under.
that's why we picked this sort of project and doing the GMP versus a traditional bid. Because traditional bid this is what we're gonna give you, but you're gonna have change orders on a project like this, you're gonna have huge change orders on the back end. And so you have to build in a 10 or 20% contingency. 10's typical, 10% contingency on top of it all. Whereas the GMP, the price is the price. There's no contingency necessarily in there, other than there'll be some small on maybe the re-engineering some stuff, or things we want to change that would cause a change order on a GMP. Complete design changes.
That's why in a GMP, they wanna do their diligence and make sure they have all their ducks in a row, so they don't take a big hit on their.
So they're not taking all the risk, or we're not taking all the risk.
I mean, they could assume one part of this is gonna be really hard, and turns out the ground's really loose, and it comes out easy, and they charge their hours for it, and they don't charge us the rest. That goes back in the allowance.
A traditional bid, they get it.
Yeah, they get
It's
it.
just the way it is. So.
That building builds itself. They're like, yep, ooh, that was tough work, $1 million.
Yep. So we've been talking about things to it's always small stuff, but 1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 cuts. The building that we just purchased, the wastewater is going to knock that, our guys aren't gonna do, we're gonna contract, a local contract that, so it doesn't cost 3 times as much having, Bowen do it. We're gonna have that, we're gonna knock that down, we're gonna dispose of that, you know, little things like that we're gonna do that will save overall money. It won't be a lot. We talked about lead service lines and how we wanna do that. Excuse me, how with the lead service line money, we can do the lead service lines from Maine to the meter pit with lead service line money. We would just pay the contractor Bowen to do that, but it would be out of the lead service line pot. It'd be how they build it and what they brought it from. So that can save a little bit of money. I don't know, we're off the cuff, $250,000 we could save there. We would be using lead service line money for lead service lines, that's what it's for. So we're still looking at things to try to reduce the overall cost.
When we did the capital budget, we talked about lining the Riverside line. That will give us a better idea of exactly what size something on the south side of the river would be that could save us some money.
And that's not gonna be funded in the project. We're funding that through wastewater revenues on the cap side. There was something else. I just had it in my brain that we were talking about doing, but we're trying to do little things like that so we won't burden the overall project as much. And then just as where we're at money wise, the overall SRF loan for the plant and engineering and construction oversight was $41,880,000. Thieneman Construction, their contract for the plant was $30,259,000. We have spent $22,069,640. We have $8,189,360 left. $360 left, excuse me. Hazeman Sawyer Engineering, their contract was $4,629,122. We have spent $1,738,803. We have $2,890,000 left on that. Reverse that. We've spent 2.8 million. We have 1.7 million left. Lockmuller Engineering, their contract was $5,213,500. We have spent $4,987,217. They have $226,000 change left, and our grant administrator's contract was $60,000. We're at $30,000 there with $30,000 left. Overall, we believe if the GMP, we come in right at the GMP for Thieneman at 30 million, so we don't see any savings there, which we think we'll have some, but it's not going to be major there. We're going to have $1,559,766, and our plan is to park that money back into the storage project as well, because we've already financed it, we've already paid for it. We're not using that to build barns or nothing like that. I mean, we have to spend the money. That money's going to come out of that project, and we're going to put it into the storage project. So that's another $1.5 million that we have that we're already paying on anyways. So that will help some. So again, we're that critical path with Baker Tilly at this point, and what that comes out as. Any other questions on the project? Okay. That's all there.
City administration, well, the mayor is not with us today, so we'll go to Mr. Stevenson, Mr. Fisher.
I'll share a few things. City of Peru had signed a contract about a week and a half ago with Lutheran EMS to provide EMS service to the city of Peru. This was after, back on November 5th, when the county signed an agreement with Parkview EMS that excluded the city of Peru. So they signed an agreement for $2.2 million, a three-year agreement for the rest of the county, and the city of Peru has gone with Lutheran at a continued no-cost price, and so that's done, effective January 1. The 2 North Broadway project, that's the first, was the, First Federal Bank, and Trust building. That project's expected to begin in mid-January, and that's where we're going to have a restaurant on the first floor of that building and apartments on the second and third floor. And it's supposed to take 7 months. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully that will stay on track. Speaking of track, Racetrack Travel Plaza has finalized purchase of its about 8.5 acres on the north side of 24 across from IMI, and they should begin, I believe, in January in construction of that facility. We've had Dickey's Car Wash open up, and we've had One Stop Convenience Store gas station open. So those projects are done and operating. We have a couple of buildings on Broadway, a couple of other buildings on Broadway. 71, 73 South Broadway, those two buildings next to each other, formerly the fireworks building. We are entertaining a proposal to have apartments above and a exercise facility down below. 56 South Broadway, that was like the formerly Day Waltz. We're looking at proposals right now on that particular building. So on how we can help the owner of that building with what they want to achieve. And that's all I have right now.
Mr. Fisher, where's that? You said the store, convenience store with.
Oh yeah, that's across. That's off of 24, right on Lovers Lane, where the medical facility is.
South American Health Network.
Oh, it's okay.
It's right out there.
It's out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Build them up. Thank you very much. Do you have something? Okay. Moving on. The city attorney, Mr. Kearns.
I have not been blown up by the gentleman who owns the overpass, so it's good news. I told him it wouldn't be until past the first of the year before we discussed anything related to that parcel, so thankfully he's been quiet, surprisingly.
Do you still want an exec session first meeting or the second meeting?
Let me double check.
My note says just in January. I don't think we.
Show the first meeting being 7th, so I mean, I'm fine doing it that day.
Exec meeting on the 7th.
Would we be able to cover all topics at that, or would you need a second one?
I'm open on that one.
Okay.
We're gonna do that. Is it gonna be post meeting?
Yeah.
Posted
Yeah,
be
if you want
best,
to.
yeah.
That would be
Yeah,
best,
yeah.
yeah.
I like that way better. We can.
Yeah.
We're not in a hurry. We can make
Yeah.
discussion meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah, because if I get stuck with kids leaving the school, then I may have to hit somebody to get here on time. Not complain.
I did that one.
I'd do it twice.
Who trusts
Okay.
you with children?
Is that it for you, Mr. Kearns?
Not very bright.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Managers report.
Thank you. So there is some good news. The EPA announced end of November that they have $3 billion in new funding for reduce lead in drinking water on a national scale. That'll be filtered through SRFs, and Indiana does a great job. And come to find out, there's a $1.1 billion that was just left that people didn't spend last year for lead drinking water, and that's where the offer from the SRF to extend from 5 to wherever we can fund came from. Is that some of that rollover money that people didn't spend in other states, Indiana said, we'll take it. So so that's a good thing. $3 billion won't do it. I mean, they said that originally the estimate was 9 million lead service lines in the United States, and they updated the estimate to 4 million lead service lines based on now they have the service line inventories, which were required over the last couple of years. So if I had to guess, it's probably somewhere in between. But you know, 4.1 billion, it's a good start. So hopefully we can get some more of that through Indiana. Speaking of lead service lines, Jamie, you want to explain the letters, please?
Last year, after we finished our inventory, we had to send out letters to all of our customers that had either a known lead service line, either on our side or on theirs, or an unknown line, which the IDEM and EPA said, if you don't know what it is, it's lead. Tell your customer it's lead. So we sent out all those letters, and we don't have records. So for most of Peru and for all of Grissom, we don't have any records of what they were made of. In Grissom, we know there's no lead, but we can't prove it. So everybody gets a letter. It's an annual thing, so this is the second time these are going out. I imagine a lot of people will forget they got one last year, blow up the phones, but our customer service people did a great job of handling that. We'll let people know, look, we don't know what your line's made out of. You know, there's precautions. We do our lead testing. We're under the limits.
And we're working on it.
And we're working on it.
We're working on it. So,
If you'd like to pay more in water rates, we take it because that would let us do more lead service.
it's not the goal though.
So
So those come out
they're gonna get mailed next week.
next week.
You mean the services don't pay for themselves?
Over 20 years.
Yes.
probably.
Yeah, from
I was just being
Yeah, I
sarcastic.
know,
I was
I know.
more like Ron.
Let's see. The office will be closed Christmas Eve and Christmas, and also New Year's Day. But obviously, we will have people on call, and the call center will be active. I'll be out of the office the 23rd through the 1st. Trying to finish up some vacation time. I'll be at home, available by phone or email. Just give me a call. And have a Merry Christmas. That's all I have.
Thank you. Well, all right, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and second to adjourn, and that we all have a Merry Christmas and
Prosperous New Year.
healthy and happy New Year. Yes. Okay, we are adjourned.
We gotta
Here we go.
vote. We gotta vote before we smack the gavel. Got a motion and